Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to Coffee Talk. Now, for the record, when I say Coffee Talk, I'm not making fun of any ethnic group. Now, I've had someone on here that's been offending me the last couple of days, and usually this person on the comment section is, for the most part, in my corner. But he's found it offensive, I guess, that I say Coffee Talk, and that he thinks I'm making fun of Jewish people. Well, first of all, I gotta say that the idea of Coffee Talk is based on a Saturday Night Live skit from 30 years ago, 20 years ago. And I guess that Mike Myers was emulating a Jewish person when he did that character. To me, that accent isn't Jewish. It's just New York. It's a New York accent. And to be honest with you, even though I've seen that accent performed on television in skits, and I've also heard it from the original sources over and over again in television and movies, I was totally unable to ever pull off a New York accent until I had a best friend that was a New Yorker from Long Island. She's still my best friend, even though right now she's in Florida, and I may be jumping up here and making a road trip to Florida to help her get back, because things aren't going too great for her in Florida right now. But she's a Sicilian by blood and a New Yorker by birth, and I couldn't say New York phrases until I met her. Now I can say coffee, and I can say talk, and I can say dog. Yeah. I can't say all of them. I can't speak in an Italian New York accent, but I come awfully close. So when I say Coffee Talk, I am not trying to make fun of anyone. I do kind of dig that New York accent, and I don't think that the New York accent is definable as Italian or Jewish. It's just New York. And if you live in New York, you're going to talk like that if you live in New York. So stop saying I'm making fun of Jewish people, because I'm not. It makes me mad. If you don't like it, go away. So welcome to Coffee Talk. Today we're talking about Agenda 21. Dun. Now, if you're a fan of Coffee Talk, you know that I don't go into a ton of detail. This is not a detailed study or discussion of these topics. It's a thumbnail discussion. It's a summary. It's just to hip you to the idea of what's going on and give you my take on it. So Agenda 21 is the idea that there was a UN agreement that the globalists, that the New World Order, had decided in a document, a secret document called Agenda 21, that they were going to basically try and destroy 90% of the population, that the earth was overpopulated, that the globalists decided that our biggest problem was overpopulation, and that soon we would overrun the earth like a swarm of locusts, stripping it of every natural resource and leaving nothing but an empty rock with nothing growing and no people on it, because we will all starve to death if we don't put a check on world population. So they came up with birth control. So they came up with sterilization. And then they finally decided, look, there's just too many. We can't even wait for them to die off. Apparently, these are people doing the math on how much food and resources we have versus how many people we have versus how many people we're creating. And that the only way to save the planet is to kill off 90% of the population. The only real solid confirmation that I have of such an idea, to me, is best displayed in the Georgia Guidestone, literally etched in stone, where they command us in these Georgia Guidestones. That's going to be another Coffee Talk. I'm going to need to do a little research on that one to get all my names straight and all of the conspiracies straight on that one. But Agenda 21 is pretty straightforward. The idea is they're trying to kill us all. They're putting stuff in the food that shortens our life. They're putting stuff in our food and water that is designed to make us not reproduced. Not reproduce, rather. Did I say reproduced? Not reproduce. It's also very much linked to this Alex Jones conspiracy that they're putting stuff in the water that's turning the freaking frogs gay. Well, the idea is they're trying to rob men of their testosterone to prevent to lower sperm counts in men so that we have a lower birth rate. That Planned Parenthood, abortion, birth control, atrazine in the water, additives in the food, the sudden explosion of the use of soy in America. Only soy I ever grew up with, hearing of, or being around was soy sauce. You know, that you put on your Chinese food. Other than that, there was no soy lattes. There was no soy milk. There was no... I mean, I remember there was a few hippies that ate tofu, but, you know, a few vegetarians that tried to use bean curd tofu. But for the most part, yeah, there was no soy. So Agenda 21 is the concept that they are trying to, A, shorten our life, B, trying to stop our reproduction, and C, trying to kill all the babies before they're born with birth defects brought on by, you know, chemicals in plastic. And some people who believe in Agenda 21, that it's real, believe that the doctors are either in on it willingly or unwillingly, that they may not realize that they're in on it, that the pharmaceutical companies are in on it, and all of these medicines are designed to kill us, not help us. I will say this. In the course of my life, I have spent a long time around people with cancer that, I guess being in ministry, you know, ministering to the sick and dying is part, you know, that's part of it. And I will say this, I've known many people that didn't seem sick at all, that had almost no symptoms, but a doctor told them they were sick. And then they gave them chemotherapy and they did get sick. They got very sick. They got sick to the edge of death. They got sick so bad that I honestly don't know how they made it through. They weren't sick before, they were sick because of the medicine that they gave them. Have you ever listened to the side effects listed in these medicines? You know, they want to give me heart disease, stroke, anal leakage, skin discoloration, rash, loss of sexual potency, all to help my allergies. I'd rather have a runny nose. Seriously, people. This is why I personally have decided to live a life as a natural man. Just like I don't partake in the brainwashing anymore. I don't sit and watch the hours of mind-numbing television and get my programming like the rest of America and the world does. I have withdrawn to some degree from society. And I definitely have told the doctors to kiss my foot. That's paraphrased for you. I don't go to them anymore. I had enough of their medicines with all of the side effects, and one medicine leads you to have to take another medicine that leads you to have to take another medicine. I've decided to be in control of my own self and live a natural life the way God intended. I don't use medicines of any kind unless they come out of the ground. And the one exception is I do have a shoulder injury that is inflamed on a regular basis right now. That it impedes me from being able to get as much done as I would like. And I don't use ibuprofen to cope with pain. I use the ibuprofen to help relieve the inflammation. But I really just would rather not even use that, and I try never to do it. I had a torn meniscus disc in my knee that they told me I needed surgery for, and I refused to have surgery for it. You know, they told me that I would never be able to be free of pain. They're wrong. It took 7 years. It took 7 years to be pain-free. My knee still clicks a little bit, but it's solid. It's solid as a rock. It doesn't hurt except maybe at the end of long treks. Sometimes it'll ache a little bit. But, yeah, and now I've been told I need shoulder surgery. I'm just going to see how long that takes to heal. It's healing already. I'm about 4 months into this injury, and I'm 40% better than I was at the beginning. So I trust God for my healing. I trust my body for my healing. I try to use natural remedies for my healing. If it doesn't come out of the ground, I don't consume it. I don't really drink diet drinks anymore. I don't eat processed food anymore. And I'm feeling myself get better. Now, there is another element of this Agenda 21, and that is, now are they using electronic warfare? Many people believe they're using electronic warfare to rob you of your livelihood, your wellness, your physicality, that they're using this 4G, 5G technology. They're using electromagnetic waves. If you want to know what it's like to be hit by a electromagnetic weapon, go back and look at my video, Tesla Death Ray, the most frightening night of my life. And you'll get to hear my encounter with one of these devices used as a weapon. But are they giving us low doses of these electromagnetic waves to rob us of our health and to push Agenda 21 further ahead? I will say this, that for a period of time in my life, I lived in the country away from anything that could emit these electromagnetic waves. And I ate almost exclusively venison and wild fish. And I tried to grow a lot of my own vegetables or get vegetables from people that grew their own. And I was never healthier than in my early 40s. My early 40s, when I was living like that, I was healthier than I was as a young teenager. And maybe at some point I'll tell you about my mother of all midlife crises, and how all I can say is many, many women that I was associated with in that time saw me as almost a completely different species than the other men that they had been around, because of my stamina, my strength, my ability to work hard on little sleep. I'm trying to be discreet here. Now I'm not the man I used to be, because I left Texas, and I'm going to try to do some hunting this year, but it's harder and harder. Like Colorado and Oregon, you got to jump through some hoops to hunt. In Texas, I threw some corn out in the field where I lived. I would get up in the morning, have my coffee, and go look out the window, and if there was a deer there, I'd just shoot it, cut it up, and throw it in the freezer. It was that easy. So I lived on wild game for a number of years, and I was never healthier. So I don't believe in doctors. I don't believe in medicines. I don't participate in that lifestyle. I live a natural life, like any good fake Indian ought to. And I intend to go out that way. I won't go on chemotherapy. I'll go straight to hospice. I'm one of these guys that I really hope that I literally fall down dead, taking one step after the other, not even knowing I'm sick. Just eat it. Just, time's up, clock's over, check it out. Check out. But I don't trust doctors. I don't trust the government. I don't trust the FDA. I don't trust processed food makers. I don't trust pharmaceutical companies. And I probably wouldn't trust you if I didn't know you. Ha! You know who I trust? God. And this wonderful natural world that He made. You can set your clock by the rising tide, the setting sun, and the phases of the moon. So, that's Agenda 21. What do you think? Are we all just a bunch of paranoid people who can't make the advancements into the next century? Or are they trying to kill us all? Agenda 21. Tell me what you think. Talk to you later.